Our next speaker is Dr. Timothy Ebner. He's a professor and also the head of the Department of Neuroscience here at the University of Minnesota.
I'm going to give you your microphone. Let me help you so I don't mess your hair up. There you go.
Never worried about messing my hair up. Are we okay? You can hear me? Yeah. You got to be really impressed with the device industry in Minnesota and companies like Medtronic. They are the world's leader. Let's see, what do we got here?
You got to give me a presentation here.
So I broke all the rules. I have to tell you, I'm not going to tell you a lot about myself because it's not particularly interesting. I will just say quickly, I do have an MD, Ph.D., which I got from the University of Minnesota. After a very short bit of other training, I was hired here. I've been on the faculty here for over 40 years. I know that sounds scary. 20 years ago, I actually founded the Department of Neuroscience here. So you've heard of this tremendous, this program, you've heard about this tremendous science going on at the University of Minnesota, particularly in the neurological space, neurosciences, clinical, neuroengineering, psychiatric problems. And what I want to talk to you about, I think it's scary. How do you get engaged in this? And so what I want to talk to you about some of the programs that we have in the Department of Neuroscience, but they're not really restricted to the department, but they're organized by the department for you to get engaged in this type of work, to find out, is this kind of the career path you might want to take? And if it is, we have programs that will really try to take you all the way to wherever you want to go, to ending up maybe the head of Medtronic, how's that? Or being a professor at the university, one of the great universities at this institution. So I'm going to start with programs at your level that we have at the high school, but we have programs when you're an undergraduate. We have programs when it's called when you've graduated and you're still trying to figure out what you want to do and how to get there. And then we have programs that actually extend across these all the way to the faculty. So the first program is a high school program that many of you could be interested in. It's called Go for Brains. It's a summer program, okay? And I have to point out Rocio Gomez-Pastor and Maria Svetnova. Maria's talking today. They're professors in the department. They organize this. This is actually, we did it for the first time this year. And the idea is we really want to engage students, high school students, to generate enthusiasm for science and for medicine, but we do it in the context of neuroscience. And, you know, this program is designed to test, you know, foster curiosity, appreciation for how science works. So you come here for a week, you'll hear a lot about science, you'll actually see science being performed, but most importantly, you'll get involved in direct experimentation. And we're going to, at the same time, expose you to the career opportunities. What do you do next? How do you go to, what's the step to go to college? How do you get there? And a lot of practical information. And then we're really trying now to create a local community of high school students and a support network that, again, this is hard. You know, this is hard to get into science. It's challenging. You know, it's a lot. But if you have a support network, you can do it. Now, our first program, as I said, was just this August. We started in the middle of COVID. Great idea, right? But we do give you a stipend, and we help with transportation. And, excuse me, this was this year's class. We could only really accommodate 11 this time. Again, with all the restrictions around COVID, hopefully we can expand this. But here's the class again with their certificates. And I can tell you, I think this was really a big success. And again, if you're interested, we'll be doing this again. Now, once you're in college, we have programs at the college level that are mainly summer programs. Now, unless you're at the University of Minnesota, of course, you can work in the labs. But if you're out, particularly when you're outside Minnesota, you can participate in our undergraduate summer program. And this really brings you here. These are nationally funded programs, actually, to study either neurological diseases or our other focus is addiction in these programs. You come here for 10 weeks. we put you up in a dorm, and you're gonna work really intensely in a laboratory with a mentor in one of these areas. And at the same time, we're going to give you a lot of career counseling, career information, help you develop some of those professional skills you need for whatever you want to do in life. Go on to graduate school or beyond, or go, take up a job. We're really actually pretty proud of this. We've had over 100 students from underrepresented groups over the last 10 years. 80% remain, go on to do more research, like they go, let's say they're from Howard University or something, they go back and they participate in research, and 70% have gone on either to medical school or graduate school. And this is just a recent class, and again, you can see that these students are going to really some of the best universities in the country. Now, I didn't put up University of Minnesota, which is the best university in the country, but they go to some of the other good ones, okay? And again, I think this is really a good program to get a sense, is you really get in a lab and get some understanding of how science works, what's it like. I'll tell you a story, because not everybody goes on to research. I remember one year I asked one of the students, she wasn't in my lab, but after the thing I said, well, did you enjoy it? She said, well, to tell you the truth, I hate science, and I'm going to go into political science. But that's good. You learn, right? Okay. Now, another big transition point for a lot of people where you need support is sometimes you've gone to a smaller, for example, school, a college that doesn't have a lot of research, or you're still not sure what's your career path. Do you want to continue in science? Do you want to go on and get a graduate degree? Maybe you want to go to medical school. So there's something called these post-baccalaureate research programs. And we just started one here at Minnesota. Again, we launched it this year. Ours is called MINDS, Minnesota Inclusive Neuroscience Development Scholars. And again, I want to point out, this has been developed by Julia Lemos and Patrick Rothwell. And what's the idea? So you've graduated from college, you will join this program. It's basically a jobs program for 1 or 2 years. We pay you a salary of, this year was $35K. We give you some discretionary funding. And as I said, you're going to join a lab, and you're really going to get engaged in a lab for that whole period to really get a sense of, do you enjoy this type of work? Do you enjoy this kind of science? The whole thing is that we really hope to be able to prepare you with this to make a decision about your next step, as well as if you do want to go on to graduate school, you'll be fully prepared. So, it really encourages your intellectual and technical growth, It teaches, how to really, you build your confidence in science and work in a laboratory. And it also will provide deliverables for you, for your applications. So things like, presenting posters at conferences or being a co-author on a publication. That's, we really hope that everybody who goes through this program will have those. And again, it's also got a lot of career development programming embedded in the program. Again, I think this is really a unique opportunity for those who want to determine if this is the next step. This is our first class. We could bring in 5 this year, but I want to point out that they come from all over again. There are people from University of Minnesota, St. Augustine here, Columbia, Bernard, and they're not just, again, I want to emphasize it, the faculty that you can work with is massive at this institution in the neurosciences. So, for example, Dante's working with a professor in pediatric here, somebody working in the Department of Neuroscience, Michelle from Columbia working in psychiatry. So you get a lot of choice in who you're going to work with and the type of project you're going to do. Okay. Now I'm going to jump to a level you guys probably aren't even thinking about, but we have programs that actually cross all these levels, and this we call diversifying. I went the wrong way. Diversifying CNS. This is by Bob Mizell and Paul Mermelstein. Again, we all need a lot of support in science. it's really, again, it's big, it's complicated, and we're trying to build networks of people who can support each other in their careers, as they go through their career. And so this program really crosses graduate students, if you're in graduate school, postdocs, and even early stage faculty. So what Bob and Paul did is they recruited 15 people in these different areas. They brought them to Minnesota this summer for a week. They did they did a lot of development things with them, from how you write a resume to how you would apply for a research grant, all these sort of skills you need to learn. The idea is they'll meet 3 times a year. So this will become a group. This will become a group of people who work together trying to support each other's career. But it's key, it's multi-level. That's the key thing. Because the literature tells us you need that multi-level support structure to really succeed. Now, three meetings a year for the group. We were supposed to have the second one in Chicago, had to be canceled because of COVID this November, so it had to be held virtually, but hopefully we'll get back to in-person meetings. So at the end of the day, this will provide longitudinal mentoring over several years for individuals, and I tell you, it'll support professional development. And at the end of the day, we're really looking not only for you to be successful, but hopefully we'll create leaders in the field out of this. So again, this was the group for this year. This is Paul and Bob who ran the program, but I think their faces tell us that they were pretty satisfied with the program. Okay. Finally, we do really want to increase the diversity in neuroscience at the faculty level. And I'm just showing you 2 recent recruits that we have brought. Arif Hamid just started in November as an assistant professor. He's really a star. He actually graduated at the U of M. I hope some of you come to the U of M just to show you he studied neuroscience here as an undergraduate. Then he went to Michigan for his Ph.D., did his postdoc at Brown. But we were fortunate enough to recruit him back. He studies how the brain processes reward and how that reward is involved in addiction. He's won some of the most prestigious fellowships out there. And we are really fortunate that we were able to get Arif to come back home. Now, we're also trying to do it somewhat differently than we've done traditionally, and that is Yanara Alonso Caraballo. We're to put her on a track to join the faculty. Now she's a little bit younger than, for example, than somebody like Arif. She got her Bachelor of Science in Puerto Rico. She did her PhD in Michigan. She's now at Harvard. But what we're going to do is we bring her here next year. She'll continue as a postdoc for a year or 2 as we get her to the stage where she can become a faculty member. And I'll tell you, she won a tremendously prestigious presidential postdoctoral fellowship that is simply designed for this transition type of work. So what I'm trying to hope I can give you a sense is we're really trying to build the programs you need to succeed. And if any of you are interested in these programs, please contact me. We'll provide you more information about just neuroscience in general, about how you go about getting an undergraduate degree or more an advanced degree. Or if you're interested for something like the high school program, please let us know. So, thank you. Yes. Yes, please.
In both the brains, the high school program, is it like an internship because of the way that you guys do it for like getting a certificate and stuff? Or is it like just a learning experience and then the certificate is kind of a just recognized thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's an internship because it's only a week long. It's more to get, you get a taste, right?
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to put it. However, you know, it's really for people in the Twin Cities area. And so if you make those connections, well, then there's the potential to continue, right? That would be the idea. Yeah. Other questions? Okay. Oh, there's one. Yes, please.
So are some of these programs kind of like pathways to like trying to like get into certain programs and maybe like doctoral programs and stuff?
Oh,
Or?
yes, yes, certainly, yes. I probably didn't make that clear, but for example, you know, some people will go to graduate school right after college. This post-baccalaureate program is designed to give you that year and then go to graduate school. But we have a very robust Ph.D. program in the department, I should say the school, and it, be a little immodest, it's probably one of the best in the country. Yes, and so but this is all the ways to help you